There's part of this CBS this morning in the category of Esto Cbs Nueva York at aerospace time of 1.41.24, which also goes to speak to motive. They held the 1 and the 2 apart in a broken floor system at A4 in vector verb. And then in the second box at the other end of the matrix is 18.33. There, which is also in a box of being held away from the partnership that both myself and Alexander were the broken 3s in the 8, which leads to the cure. So in this baby formula, and so I'm watching this portion at that exact time. On comes his face, and he is leading into a story about Obama, the break into the White House, like the most radicalized display of aggression, but with a smile and wave, like nobody's ever gonna know, in war theater, because they're really good at covering up their really disgusting whatever. And so, and he's speaking of the Voyager scholarship. So now, is that the travelers that we didn't agree to accept on the Northeast coast, are those the ones that were replacing me in replacement theory at critical race and endangered species being one of my kind? Like I belong more into the finish line. So now, really interesting is he speaks of it. He also is in some place. I think that he worked his charm, or I'm not even going to give him the word charm, but he worked some war theater and invasion before he got a seat at the White House, or broke into the White House, whatever, broke the chairs and broke the system. He worked in something called a Chicago, I think, or Illinois. So the story goes. And on here, not only does it the scholarship, so I mean it pretty much, he's stealing my words and my victimization story, and he's spinning it into a glory hole story for him and the piecemeal that is here that nobody agreed to take on, especially if they're looking for clean water and resources and a system that's already built. They're not allowed to just take over the working system and laws of another civilization, but that's what it looks like they're trying to do.
CBS Morning's exclusive. We're announcing the creation of the Obama Chesky Scholarship for Public Service. Former President Barack Obama and Airbnb co-founder and CEO Brian Chesky have partnered to give
Oh, so there's an enemy of the state.
Scholarships to college students pursuing careers in public service. I love this.
Okay, so pursuing public service would mean there was some entrance to this U.S. or us system at the family estate. I would have went with that rather than going private sector, where all of my rights, my voice, my freedoms were just taken from me without further conversation, and my future was completely destroyed. But they sent the wrong representative. They sent like an Obama representative as opposed to like a White House representative to my high school for entrance. So if that's the entrance into this public service, what happens when they send purposely a dark figure who prevents you And they knew what they were doing. I had no idea. I had lots of questions, but nobody to ask because the figure wasn't a U.S. figure. I mean, she thought she was a U.S. figure. She thought the symbols were to her and whatever, but no, not so much. Check the currency of the land area for the chair that you replaced who I needed with yourself in that interview. So preventing me from a life of public service or even to get to the network of public servants that I needed at White House level from high school in this New York, that's a major, major setback, and that is a major problem for me. Obama seems to have made a whole career off of it. Somebody replaced my seat at the table and gave it to him. I don't know who that is.
They announced a $100 million initiative to recent grads working in public service who understand the financial.
Now, if you look behind him, it says this Voyager. Now, is that off this Voyager system? Did they steal the information light years ahead of schedule and then rearrange the chairs and the meals at the table and the Last Supper? I'm just curious. That's what it looks like.
Financial worries of choosing a public service career.
Right. Well, when you prevent the white kids from entering public service and entering the family estate system of finding one another, and then you prevent them from getting to their own kind for marriage, it really does look like you are at the center of every problem that's ever been in this systemic demise while you're hiding here. I mean, like, at what point is it aiding and abetting terrorists? Does that, like, shout out go to, like, military? Do they actually move in the correct directions if that's what it looks like? Because I didn't invite this in. It arrived. It then got really loud, obnoxious, and dangerous. Things have happened. They've been around at pretty much every single, like, one of those dangerous events. And so now are they leading me into these dangerous events? I mean, years into this? Because they were there at the onset. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.
Career.
If we could remove that burden so people could actually go into public service, serve their community, but also broaden their horizons.
If we want.
They do. It's called the United States Service System. But the route to entry was blocked by something that looked like this, but in a darker category in the seat where I needed someone who looked more like me.
This next generation of leaders, to be able to do what they need to do, they have to meet each other.
Yeah.
They have to know each other. They have to understand each other.
Yes, they do. And when you strategically block entryway to fill those chairs for the next generation, these are acts of war and terrorism that have already gone on. But people are highlighting them like they're some kind of new hero. Are you all crazy?
In each other's communities. There are leaders everywhere. We just have to find them.
The Voyager Scholarship will not only provide money, but also travel stipends and access to mentors. Undergraduate students entering their junior year can apply at voyager-scholarship.obama.org no later than June 14th. Vlad, you mentioned...
Let the two of them together.
Yeah.
Like, this is the narrative by everything that's already broken the system and become a real problem in New York. Time doesn't make this better. Time only gives them more insurgents and power and inroads to break everything that was once really grand. And now they're trying to rebuild it in their own image, which is a real problem on a whole nother set of nuclear fallout and nuclear weaponry problems. Star 1978, Star 8378. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxy is broken.